Welcome back, Soul Seekers. This is Soul Arsel, and today we're diving deep into a truth that many don't talk about enough. Why spiritual awakening can feel so painful. When we hear the word awakening, we often imagine light, clarity, peace, and higher consciousness. And yes, those are the fruits of awakening. But the path to that peace can be rocky, intense, and full of emotional storms. Let's understand why. The first reason awakening is painful is because it shatters illusions, the beliefs and stories we've lived by our entire lives. We all grow up with programmed ideas about who we are, what life should be, what success looks like, and how the world works. These are our mental and emotional foundations. But spiritual awakening begins by breaking these false foundations. You suddenly see that your job, relationships, and even your identity were rooted in ego, fear, or external expectations. This can feel like your world is crumbling, because in many ways it is. The false self is dying, and that death is never comfortable. Next comes what many call the ego death. The ego is the voice in your head that says, I am this, I am that, I need this to be worthy. I must look this way to be loved. During awakening, you begin to witness this voice instead of identifying with it. And as your soul begins to rise, the ego starts to panic, it resists. It fights, and it can trigger anxiety, depression, confusion, or emotional breakdowns. This stage is painful because you feel like you're losing your identity. You may ask, if I'm not my job, my looks are my past, then who am I? That question is the doorway, but the doorway is guarded by discomfort. Spiritual awakening is also a purification. It brings to the surface all the unhealed wounds, suppressed traumas, and emotional baggage you've carried for years. You might cry for no reason. Old memories may return. You may feel exhausted, anxious, or deeply unsettled. This is the soul cleansing itself. The pain is not a punishment. It's the toxins leaving your system. Just like healing a deep wound can hurt, emotional detox can be agonizing, but it's part of becoming whole. Another reason spiritual awakening is painful is because it can feel incredibly lonely. You may find that your friends don't understand you anymore. Your values start changing. Conversations that once felt fun now feel meaningless. You might even withdraw from people because you no longer feel aligned. This spiritual isolation can feel like you're walking a path no one else sees. But remember, you're not alone, you're just ahead. And the solitude is preparing you for deeper, more authentic connections later. During awakening, we begin to realize that we're not in control the way we thought. Things fall apart, plans fail. Life stops making sense. This can trigger fear and helplessness. But what's really happening is that your soul is inviting you to trust a higher intelligence, to surrender to the flow of life, rather than forcing outcomes. The pain here comes from resistance. When you stop resisting, surrendering becomes easier and peace returns. When all your old identities are gone and your ego has softened, a period of identity crisis often follows. You may feel lost. You may wonder, what's my purpose? What do I believe? Who am I becoming? This emptiness is actually sacred. It's the space between death and rebirth. It's your soul preparing you to step into your true self, beyond labels, roles, and expectations. But sitting in that emptiness, that's one of the hardest parts. One of the deepest pains of awakening is the encounter with the shadow self, the parts of you you've denied, rejected, or buried. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's shame. Maybe it's the fear of being unworthy or unloved. The awakening process brings light to these dark corners, and that light can feel exposing, uncomfortable, even terrifying. But here's the truth: you can't heal what you don't face. Your shadow is not your enemy. It's your teacher, and in facing it, you reclaim lost parts of your soul. After the pain comes the transformation. Just like a caterpillar dissolves in the cocoon before becoming a butterfly, your old self has to fall apart before the new self can emerge. The pain is not the end, it's the beginning. You begin to feel lighter, more aligned, more peaceful. You become more compassionate, more aware, and more alive. You realize that the pain wasn't destroying you, it was awakening you. So if you're going through a painful awakening right now, know this: you're not broken, you're becoming whole. Your soul is calling you home, and every tear, every fear, every moment of confusion is part of that sacred journey. Stay strong, stay present, and trust the process. This is Soul Arsal. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, sometimes the darkest nights birth the brightest souls.